Hi, and welcome back to the Self-Actualization in the Age of Crisis chapter summary series. Today we're going to be discussing Chapter 2, Core Values, subsection, Equity. Equity is the belief and practice of fairness within our interpersonal and systemic relationships. We embrace it as a framework for guiding our obligations and interactions with others. Now, fairness, like everything else in a universe governed by the single truth, is what we decide it to be. Ultimately, our capacity is really defined to the limitations of our imagination. How bold can we imagine? How much strength can we empower the individual to have, so as to maximize their individual agency and access in the world, and in turn, support the collective. Equity is in many ways the core value that we embrace to free ourselves from a transactional universe, right? As we've talked about throughout the text in these summaries, the highest form of cooperation in our immediate present is transaction, and that is the source of many of our ills. Equity is a core value, and fairness that comes along with it is a way of breaking that hold on us that these transactional interactions have, and reframing our humanity, reframing our divinity and our connections with others in something deeper and more meaningful. When we couple it with our core value of enthusiasm, equity is a direct path to overcoming our doubts and desires in relation to our interactions with others and how we perceive the world, independently. Now, equity and fairness can really only be explored within context. One component of equity is a deep vulnerability within ourselves. To be vulnerable to the outside world and to the other, to assume that those on the outside world also embrace and approach life with a deep love and sense of fairness towards the other. The single truth in the relational universe encourage frameworks of meaning and value that really emphasize and support our individual commitment to collective participation. And to most fully prioritize this and realize this and embrace this core value, we prioritize as individuals the other over any system they might inhabit. And that's really key, because right now a lot of the opposite happens within our immediate present. Many people prioritize and fetishize our systems over the individuals that they impact. And that is the wrong framework of meaning and value to transcend the crisis. Equity roots our belief in collective transcendence, right? The idea that as we empower the collective, we more greatly empower the individual. And equity is really the root spiritual value that drives us towards this vision of greatness, this vision of a higher unleashing of imagination and divinity upon the universe. When you recognize the other as equally divine as yourself, it encourages and demands, frankly, the systemic capacity to elevate them to most fully express that. I think what's really critical, and like what we all have to really embrace when we think about equity, is the world is full of I. It is full of us, full of I's who are unique in their conscious coordinates, unique in their fractional observation, but at the same time the same in the totality of the moment. And that demands the groundwork and foundation of systems to most actively support it. We can't talk about equity as a sacred spiritual value without all at the same time confronting our inheritance of a past rooted deep in equity. Love-rooted fairness, right? This idea of genuine love towards the other cannot abide, cannot stand for, and actively rejects the systemic oppression of one group for the benefit of another. To that end, we recognize that collective elevation through the systemic project as the most direct expression of love we can inhabit within the immediate present, the elevation of the collective. I mean, ultimately, it prioritizes down to the golden rule, right? We would do for others as we would do for ourselves.